Welcome back to EFL After Dark Hours, where Premier League drama gets broken down like a crime scene and exposed, it owes us an explanation. Now, let me ask you something. How does a team that plays football, it's been coded in a lab, suddenly start dropping points like loose change? We're talking about Manchester City FC, the same team that can complete 30 passes before you even find your seat. The same team that turns fullbacks into midfielders and midfielders into philosophers. And yet, they're slipping, not collapsing, not panicking, but dropping just enough points to make the title race feel human again. So, what's really going on? Let's break it down into 10 real reasons City are dropping points. No excuses, no fluff, just sharp analysis with a little bit of chaos. First up, control is starting to crack. City's whole identity is built on control, tempo, possession, positioning. But lately, that control has looked slightly negotiable. Teams aren't just sitting back anymore. They're pressing smarter, closing angles faster, and forcing City into uncomfortable moments. And when City lose control, even for 5 to 10 minutes, they suddenly look like a luxury car stuck in traffic. Still expensive, just not moving. And if the system is starting to wobble, wait until you see what happens when the engine itself gets overworked. That engine, fatigue. City don't just play football, they solve equations at full speed. Every movement is calculated, every pass has purpose. That level of precision takes energy, mental and physical. And after seasons of chasing titles, Champions League nights, and playing 60 plus games, fatigue creeps in like a silent defender you didn't track. You start seeing slightly slower reactions, one touch passes becoming two touch, presses arriving half a second late. At this level, half a second is the difference between dominance and damage. But fatigue alone doesn't explain everything, because even a tired City side is still dangerous. So what else is slipping? Let's talk about predictability. Yes, City, the most complex team in the league, are becoming slightly predictable. Not because they're basic, but because teams have studied them. It's finals week. Opponents now expect the inverted fullbacks, the overloads in midfield, the cutbacks from the byline. And when you expect something, you prepare for it. City are still executing, but opponents are reacting faster than before. It's like watching your favorite magic trick for the 10th time. Still impressive, but you're starting to see how it's done. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Because while opponents are improving, City's squad balance is starting to show tiny cracks. Injuries and rotations. City's depth is elite, but not infinite. When key players are missing or rotated, the system doesn't break, but it bends. And Pep's system? It's like a luxury watch. Remove one gear, and the timing isn't quite perfect anymore. You'll see. Slight miscommunication, less chemistry in tight spaces. Players hesitating instead of flowing, and that hesitation, that's where points get dropped. But even with rotations, City still dominate games. Which brings us to the next issue. Dominance without damage. City are controlling games, but not always finishing them. Possession, high, pass accuracy, elite, territory, complete domination, but goals, sometimes missing. It's like cooking a 5-star meal and forgetting to add salt at the end. They create chances, but not always the right chances. And when teams stay in the game longer than expected, pressure flips. Suddenly, one counter-attack, one mistake, and boom, points gone. And speaking of pressure flipping, let's talk about something that doesn't show up in stats, but hits just as hard. Mental fatigue. Winning constantly sounds great until you realize it's exhausting. City have been chasing perfection for years. Every game matters, every mistake is magnified, and that kind of pressure builds quietly. You start to see slight lapses in focus, slower urgency when chasing games, less sharpness in key moments. Not because they don't care, but because maintaining that level is brutally hard. Now combine mental fatigue with something else creeping in, and things get even more complicated. The Premier League catching up. Let's be honest, the league has evolved. Teams aren't just hoping to survive City anymore. They are building strategies specifically to disrupt them. Smarter pressing systems, better defensive structures. Clubs like Arsenal FC and Liverpool FC aren't intimidated. They're prepared. And when the gap closes, even slightly, results start to shift. But here's the twist. Sometimes the biggest challenge isn't external, it's internal expectations. Perfection is the problem. City have set a standard so high that anything less feels like failure. A draw? Crisis. A loss? Headlines? Dropping points? Emergency meetings on Twitter? That pressure creates urgency, but it can also create tension. Tension leads to rushed decisions, forced passes, and moments where City look slightly out of sync. And when urgency kicks in, it changes how the game is played, sometimes in ways that hurt more than help. Risk versus control imbalance. City are built for control, but when they're chasing games, they take more risks. Fullbacks push higher, midfield opens up, transitions become dangerous. And suddenly, the team that controls everything becomes vulnerable. It's like watching a chess grandmaster start playing blitz. They're still brilliant, just more exposed. And finally, the biggest reason of them all, the one that ties everything together: margins. At this level, everything is decided by the smallest details. A missed chance, a deflection, a late goal conceded. City aren't suddenly bad. They're just human in moments where they used to be flawless. And in the Premier League, that's enough. Because the difference between winning the title and chasing it is often just a handful of points. So no, City aren't collapsing. They're evolving, adapting, and being tested in ways they haven't been for a while. And that's exactly what makes this title race dangerous. If you made it this far, drop a comment. What's the real reason City are dropping points? Is it fatigue? Tactics? Or is the league finally catching up? And if you want more Premier League breakdowns, Pick 6 drama, and football analysis that actually hits different, hit like, subscribe, and join EFL After Dark Hours. Because the league never sleeps. It just waits for the next mistake.